beloved soul, hear these words with the utmost seriousness and deep reverence. For Archangel Michael comes forward in this very hour with a message of urgency, illumination, and divine instruction that is meant not only to awaken you but to anchor you in faith, courage, and unwavering hope in the face of trials that are approaching swiftly. This message is not to stir fear but to awaken the resolve of your spirit, for distractions must be set aside and clarity embraced, as the times before you require immediate attention and steadfast focus. There is a pressing call that resounds from the heavenly realms, a call that speaks of both warning and preparation, caution and empowerment, alertness and protection. Archangel Michael declares with immense authority that a spiritual trial is imminent, one that will attempt to deceive, confuse, and derail the chosen and faithful through trusted individuals or hidden agendas that appear benign. It is in this very moment that your preparedness will determine your future trajectory, for the coming events will expose lies, test faith, and demand courage, resilience, and a firm anchoring in God. A divine trumpet resounds through the heavens, signaling both danger and deliverance, warning and hope, so that you, beloved soul, may be aligned with the will of God and safeguarded by angelic hosts in the unseen. The urgent divine warning is this: deception cloaked in familiarity will attempt to infiltrate your mind, heart, and choices, masquerading as truth while leading away from divine purpose. Be not swayed by honeyed words or promises that seem convenient, for discernment must be your shield and prayer your constant weapon. Vigilance is essential, for signs, symbols, and subtle cues will arrive to guide you away from entrapment, but only a heart attuned to God's voice will recognize them. Trust not in appearances, but in the deep, still voice of divine guidance that whispers within your spirit. The spiritual preparation required is not casual or occasional but intentional and layered, encompassing mind, body, spirit, and emotions, for every dimension of your being must be fortified against the pressures that approach. Archangel Michael urges you to enter into prayer, meditation, and focused spiritual practices daily, sharpening discernment and heightening awareness so that you are neither caught unaware nor weakened in resolve. Protective shields are built through alignment with divine truth, confession of faith, declaration of God's promises, and consistent surrender to His will, and as you do this, you are enveloped in divine armor that no force of deception can penetrate. Your senses will be heightened, intuition sharpened, and angelic whispers will be clearer, guiding you in moments where choices carry eternal weight. Yet, know this also: recognition of deception requires not only alertness but courage to act. For you may see hidden agendas unveiled, masks removed, and true intentions revealed in people, systems, or environments once trusted. This revelation may bring discomfort, but do not turn away, for truth uncovered is freedom gained. Beware of behaviors that are unusual, words that stir unease, or actions that contradict professed values, for these are signs of deeper snares being set. Small signs, dreams, sudden revelations, and intuitive impressions will all form a mosaic of divine warnings meant to preserve your path, but you must be willing to believe and respond. Courage, then, is defined not as the absence of fear but as the resolve to face fear with trust in divine support. You are not called to collapse under doubt or retreat into hesitation, but to rise with boldness, faith, and reliance upon God's mighty hand. Immediate action guided by divine prompting is your safeguard, aligning you with higher purpose and preventing entanglement in snares. In this moment, your faith becomes a shield stronger than human logic or luck, and the next 24 hours of choices and preparedness may very well determine the safety and prosperity of your future. Archangel Michael implores you to trust not in self alone, but in divine strength, For in weakness you are upheld by God's power, in confusion you are led by divine clarity, and in despair you are lifted by eternal hope. This assurance is not empty comfort but divine truth. You are never alone, for angelic hosts surround you and God's hand is upon you. Trials are not signs of abandonment but of opportunity, for they stretch and strengthen the spirit, drawing you into deeper reliance upon heaven's help and cultivating wisdom that sustains you beyond this season. Divine hope and assurance flow as rivers into your being now, reminding you that victory is not distant but near, that clarity is not hidden but accessible, that provision is not withheld but prepared for those who trust. Even as deception swirls, truth stands immovable. Even as fear attempts to rise, courage burns brighter. Even as hidden agendas surface, divine strategies are revealed. In all this, Archangel Michael speaks firmly. Align yourself with faith, courage, and decisive action, for the time of passivity is past and the hour of alertness has come. Lay aside hesitation, put away compromise, and gird your spirit with unwavering resolve. For your role in this divine unfolding is not small but essential. You are called to embody faith that inspires others, courage that withstands storms, and action that shifts outcomes in alignment with heaven's will. Through these choices, you not only safeguard your destiny but become a beacon for others wandering in confusion, a light illuminating hidden traps, a voice declaring the faithfulness of God amidst chaos. Therefore, beloved soul, hear and receive this message as seed planted in fertile ground. Urgent warning to awaken vigilance, spiritual preparation to establish strength, recognition of deception to maintain purity, and divine hope to fuel endurance. Archangel Michael extends his sword of light now, not only to shield but to empower, to sever lies and ignite truth, to drive away fear and anchor you in faith. This is your call, your moment, your divine invitation to stand in readiness, unshaken and victorious, for heaven goes before you and surrounds you, and in God you will prevail. Beloved soul, as the divine message continues to unfold, Archangel Michael presses upon your heart the absolute necessity of unwavering vigilance, for deception in these days will not come boldly or obviously, but clothed in familiarity, in voices you once trusted, in systems you once relied upon, in comforts that appear harmless yet carry hidden snares. This is why spiritual discernment must be sharpened as a sword, able to divide truth from illusion, spirit from shadow, clarity from confusion. The adversary works in subtleties, planting seeds of doubt, weaving half-truths with persuasive charm, distracting the heart from prayer, or dulling the mind with endless noise, but you are called to rise above these tactics through intentional alignment with God's Word and constant communion with the divine. Recognize that every choice you make, every thought you entertain, every word you release carries weight in the unseen realms, and thus you must walk carefully, with purpose, guarding your heart and testing every spirit against the eternal truth. Archangel Michael reveals that even in relationships, alliances, and opportunities, masks will fall away, revealing motives not aligned with love but with hidden agendas of control, manipulation, or exploitation. This unveiling may wound you, for betrayal often cuts deeply, yet do not despair, for the uncovering is an act of mercy, not cruelty, ensuring that you are not entangled in webs meant to derail your purpose. Rejoice even in the pain of revelation, for it liberates you from bondage you did not see, and it positions you for partnerships that are pure, divinely appointed, and fruitful. Understand also that spiritual preparation requires both inward and outward action. Purify your thoughts, guard your speech, and strengthen your body as the temple it is, for the physical and spiritual are not divided but intertwined, and a weak vessel easily succumbs to pressure. Rest, nourish, and discipline your body, for in moments of spiritual battle, fatigue can dull discernment and hesitation can cost dearly. The next layer is emotional strength, for waves of confusion, fear, and even despair may attempt to wash over you, but anchoring yourself in prayer, worship, and the remembrance of God's faithfulness will steady your soul like a rock amidst turbulent seas. Archangel Michael declares with power that the time is short, that complacency is dangerous, and that each day must be lived as though it carries eternal weight, for indeed it does. Faith must not be a passive sentiment but an active force, a fire that drives you forward. Courage must not be mere bravado but rooted confidence in God's promises, and action must not be delayed or indecisive but immediate, bold, and clear. You are reminded that courage is not the absence of trembling but the choice to move despite it, to step forward though uncertainty swirls, to speak truth though silence seems safer, to resist lies though they come dressed as comfort. In this courage, you will find divine assistance rushing to meet you, for heaven never abandons those who walk in obedience. The assurance that surrounds you is this: though the battle intensifies, victory is guaranteed to those who remain steadfast. Though deception multiplies, truth will shine like the noonday sun. Though storms rage, the hand of God will uphold you and the hosts of heaven will encamp around you. Remember always that you are not powerless, you are not abandoned, you are not prey to the schemes of darkness, but you are clothed in divine authority, carrying within you the very light of heaven, a light that darkness cannot comprehend nor extinguish. Therefore, when hidden agendas surface, do not shrink back in fear, but lift your voice in prayer, call upon the name of the Lord, and wield the sword of truth. For the adversary trembles when you stand in your identity as a child of God, unyielding and radiant. The divine hope extended to you now is not a fragile wish but a mighty anchor, a certainty that God's plans for you are not destruction but life, not confusion but clarity, not bondage but freedom, and as you cling to this hope, you will find strength rising within you like an unshakable tower. Trials are not the end but the passageway, deception is not final but fleeting, fear is not your portion but faith, victory, and divine assurance. Archangel Michael reminds you that the coming hours and days are a proving ground, a refining fire meant not to destroy but to purify, not to break but to strengthen, and as gold is refined in the furnace, so too will your spirit emerge brighter, stronger, and more radiant for having endured. Trust in this process, hold fast to the promises spoken, and let your heart not be troubled, for you walk not alone but surrounded by divine presence, uplifted by unseen hands, guarded by angelic warriors, and empowered by the Spirit of God Himself. This is the call, the charge, the holy warning and sacred invitation. Heed it with reverence, act with courage, prepare with diligence, and rest with assurance that the God who has called you is faithful, and He will see you through to victory. Beloved soul, the message deepens further, and Archangel Michael presses upon your heart with the weight of eternity that now is not the time to drift in complacency, for each decision made in these critical hours is a seed planted that will bear fruit, either of blessing or of consequence. And thus you must awaken fully and resist the temptation to slumber spiritually. The forces of deception will not always appear threatening but will often come as whispers of comfort, promises of ease, or invitations to compromise that appeal to fleshly desires. Yet these are snares designed to weaken your vigilance and slowly draw you away from divine alignment. Be watchful, then, over the subtle compromises that seem insignificant, for it is through the small doors that great deceptions gain entry, and it is through tolerating shadows that darkness attempts to grow. Archangel Michael urges you to cling fiercely to truth, to measure every influence against the eternal Word of God, and to never allow feelings or appearances to outweigh the certainty of divine instruction. Know that in the days ahead, distractions will increase, not all of them inherently evil but strategically designed to drain your focus, consume your time, and erode your resolve until your attention is too fragmented to recognize the urgent voice of God. Therefore, discipline is essential. Carve out sacred spaces of silence, prayer, and meditation, for in stillness the voice of heaven resounds most clearly. Guard your time, guard your thoughts, and guard your relationships, for not all who walk near you are aligned with your destiny, and some may be planted as diversions or even as stumbling blocks. Yet do not let suspicion harden your heart into bitterness, for discernment is not about fear but about clarity, and clarity empowers you to love purely without naivety, to serve faithfully without exploitation, and to walk wisely without entrapment. In this journey, you must also embrace the paradox of divine courage, that while fear may attempt to grip your heart, faith burns brighter when tested, and each step of obedience fans the flames of holy confidence. Remember always that courage is not loud or boastful but steady and consistent, found in choosing truth when lies sound sweeter, in holding to integrity when shortcuts seem easier, in lifting your voice for righteousness when silence seems safer. Each time you act in courage, you strengthen your spiritual muscles, you deepen your resilience, and you align yourself more fully with divine will, becoming unshakable against the storms that approach. And storms will come, not only as external circumstances but as inner battles of doubt, discouragement, and weariness. But Archangel Michael declares that your faith will be your fortress and your prayers will be your shield, for heaven responds swiftly when the righteous cry out. Do not underestimate the power of your words spoken in faith, for declarations aligned with God's promises shift atmospheres, break chains, and release divine intervention in ways unseen. Even as you face trials, know that they are not punishments but purifications, opportunities to refine your character, to strip away what is false, and to strengthen what is eternal. The assurance of heaven is this: you are chosen, you are equipped, you are guarded, and you are loved with a love that no deception, no trial, no hidden agenda can ever sever. You are reminded that even when betrayal wounds, even when confusion clouds, even when battles rage, the hosts of heaven stand beside you, fighting unseen wars on your behalf, clearing paths you cannot see, and ensuring that the purposes of God in your life will prevail. Therefore, do not give in to despair. Do not surrender to fear. Do not accept the lie that you are powerless, for within you burns the eternal light of God's Spirit, a light that exposes every shadow and conquers every darkness. Walk forward with the certainty that divine hope is not wishful thinking but solid ground, that assurance is not fragile but fortified, that faith is not blind but illuminated by truth. Let this message echo in the chambers of your spirit. Prepare with diligence, discern with sharpness, act with courage, and rest with assurance. For though the night may be long, dawn is certain, and though the battle may be fierce, victory is promised. Archangel Michael extends once more the sword of light, cutting away confusion, severing fear, and igniting within you the flame of holy boldness. For the hour has come to stand, to speak, to shine, and to endure, knowing that your steps are guided, your path is guarded, and your destiny is secured in the hands of the Almighty. Beloved soul, as the final portion of this divine message is poured out, Archangel Michael brings you into a deeper awareness that all the words spoken are not merely warnings but sacred invitations into transformation, empowerment, and victory that transcends the moment and shapes eternity. Understand that you were not chosen to walk this path by chance, but by divine appointment, for within you rests a light, a calling, and a strength that even you may not yet fully perceive, but heaven has already recognized. The trials you face, the deceptions unveiled, the storms allowed to rage, all these are not signs of abandonment but opportunities for your soul to rise into its truest form, anchored unshakably in faith, courage, and divine assurance. Archangel Michael reminds you that courage does not roar, but it whispers in your spirit saying, "Press forward even when weary," and faith does not always leap with ease, but sometimes it stands quietly against the tide declaring, "I shall not be moved." This is your call to endurance, not as one who barely survives but as one who emerges victorious, carrying the wisdom of the battle, the scars of perseverance, and the radiance of divine victory. You must see now that every deception uncovered, every hidden agenda revealed, is not simply to protect you from harm but to realign you with the highest path ordained for you. The divine will for your life is not small, not fragile, not easily broken, but powerful, expansive, and radiant, and when you surrender fully into alignment, nothing, neither schemes of darkness, storms of adversity, nor voices of doubt, can derail what has been written for you. Yet surrender is not passive, it is active, requiring trust in the unseen, obedience to divine nudges, and courage to release what no longer serves your destiny. Perhaps you will feel the sting of letting go, relationships, opportunities, or habits that once comforted you, but know that what God removes, He replaces with greater, purer, and more lasting gifts. Archangel Michael's voice echoes like a clarion trumpet. Do not cling to what heaven is cutting away, for the hand that prunes is also the hand that multiplies. Your readiness in this moment is measured not by how little you fear, but by how fully you trust, by how quickly you obey, and by how deeply you anchor yourself in the eternal promises of God. And those promises are sure, that you are never forsaken, that your path is guarded, that your destiny is secure, that your hope is living and cannot be extinguished. Even when deception rises, even when trials shake, even when the unknown presses in, you stand in the shelter of the Almighty, and no power of darkness can overthrow that covering. You are encouraged to strengthen your daily walk with small yet powerful acts, speaking truth when lies abound, offering kindness where bitterness festers, choosing prayer when distraction tempts, declaring gratitude when discouragement looms. For these actions, though simple, fortify your spirit and repel the encroaching shadows. Remember always that you are not a passive recipient of divine help but a co-laborer with heaven, wielding authority through your words, actions, and faith. Archangel Michael bids you to recognize that within your spiritual arsenal lies a sword of truth, a shield of faith, and armor of righteousness, and as you wield them daily, you become untouchable by the snares of the adversary. And while vigilance remains crucial, do not forget the joy that is your birthright, for divine hope is not only a stern assurance but also a radiant light that fills you with peace, even in chaos, with laughter, even in uncertainty, and with strength, even in weakness. Beloved, this is not merely about surviving what lies ahead but thriving through it, becoming a living testimony to the power and faithfulness of God, a beacon for others lost in confusion, a reminder to the world that light always conquers darkness. Therefore, rise with courage, walk with clarity, and live with unwavering hope, knowing that heaven has already declared victory over your life. Let these words be sealed in your spirit as eternal truth. You are called, you are chosen, you are protected, you are empowered, and you are destined to prevail. Carry this message not only in your mind but in your actions, in your relationships, and in your daily walk, for every moment is an opportunity to reflect divine light into the world. And as you step forward, let this truth burn in your heart. Faith will not fail you, courage will not abandon you, divine assurance will not waver, and Archangel Michael's guidance will not cease, for heaven is with you now and forevermore. If these words have stirred your spirit, awakened your courage, and strengthened your faith, I invite you to take this journey further with me. On my YouTube channel, Archangel Inspire, you will find messages, insights, and guidance that continue to uplift, prepare, and align you with divine wisdom. By subscribing, you are not simply following another voice. You are choosing to stay connected to a stream of light, a community of seekers, and a flow of inspiration that will remind you daily of your strength, your purpose, and your divine protection. Let this be your next step of faith. Join, subscribe, and allow yourself to be continually inspired and guided, for your journey is too precious to walk without constant encouragement. Archangel Inspire is more than a channel. It is a sanctuary of wisdom, a beacon of hope, and a companion for your spiritual path. Subscribe now, and let us walk together in faith, courage, and divine assurance, with Archangel Michael's light guiding us into victory.